Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is May 7th, 2025, and a new version of next season's home kit has been leaked. Also, Juliano Belletti could be tempted away from Barcelona. And finally, Deco in the lead up to the semi-finals aimed a dig at Xavi Hernandez. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and we'll begin this video with a new segment. We'll call this segment Ridiculous Things That Happen in Football, starting with Marcus Thuram, who after Barcelona's defeat at the hands of Inter Milan was seen consoling Lamine Yamal on the field, but unfortunately he did follow that nice gesture with this post that he posted on his Instagram stories. It's a picture of him with Lamine and with a subtitle, "On a Mission, and two laughing emojis. Now, Marcus Thuram is referring to Lamine Yamal's post before the match, where Lamine Yamal posted "on a mission." In other words, that he was on a mission to make it to the final. And after Barcelona lost, Marcus Thuram making fun of Lamine Yamal. Now, he did have to remove that post, or he removed the post, I should say. He didn't have to, but he removed the post afterwards, I'm guessing because someone in his circle was like, "Dude, what are you doing? You're a grown-ass 27-year-old man making fun of a 17-year-old child. Like, get it together." I imagine that's what happened. If not, get it together. Like, what are you doing? But anyways, now on to the second part of this segment called Ridiculous Things That Happen in Football Today. Check out Real Madrid's training grounds today because Real Madrid fans showed up and filled it up with signs, teddy bears, scarves, flowers, and one big sign that said "Grazie Inter," or in other words, "Thank you Inter," but in Italian, of course, thanking Inter Milan for knocking out Barcelona out of the Champions League. And as I've said many times before, Real Madrid fans might like to talk about how great their club is and how it's the greatest club in the world and they have 15 Champions League and they've won all these trophies. But at the end of the day, they still have a small club mentality. A small club mentality. And a big, huge complex with FC Barcelona, because these Madrid fans simply cannot forget or forgive that despite their club being backed by all the political, financial elites in Spain, despite their club having everything it needs to be the best and the biggest, a club like Barcelona humiliated them time and time again. So that always lives in their head rent-free. And today they showed up in a big group to Real Madrid's training ground, not to celebrate Real Madrid's victories, not to celebrate Real Madrid defeating Barcelona. No. To celebrate another team defeating Barcelona. Because since they can't defeat Barcelona themselves, they have to celebrate other teams doing it. Because let's not forget, 4-0, 5-2, 3-2, 3 Clásicos, 3 defeats, 3 humiliations, 2 finals that gave Barcelona 2 trophies at the expense of Real Madrid, with a chance of making it another humiliation and another trophy for Barcelona during this weekend. So now they have to celebrate other teams. I mean, that's what they're left to celebrate. Again, small club mentality. It started with the whole Real Madrid TV and all the videos of the referees, the Copa del Rey final, withdrawing from official events, threatening not to show up, and now with this, pathetic fan base. Anyways, let's talk about a real great club that acts like a great club, not like a small club. But let's talk about Barcelona because, ladies and gentlemen, a new version of next season's home kit has been leaked by Memorabilia 1899. And this what the home kit looks or could look for next season, 2025-2026 season. It's still similar to the previous versions that we've seen, of course. Jerseys do go through different designs until they finally land on one. Given that we're getting very close to the end of the season and the beginning of the summer, which is when kits are usually released, this probably is either the final version or very, very close to the final version, but the same kind of concept as the previous ones we've seen, kind of like that blended lines, if you want to say that, or blended stripes. This is the picture, of course, the Señera with the Blaugrana colors. The Señera, of course, being the Catalan flag and the Blaugrana colors. And this is what it looks like from the back. Again, the stripes kind of blended into each other. And the same thing I said about the previous versions, I'm not a fan whatsoever. But I do want to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions. What do you think about this kit? Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know in the comment section. I'm very, very curious to hear you guys' thoughts. Now, on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, Sao Paulo are trying to lure Juliano Belletti away from Barcelona. Now, Juliano Belletti became the coach of the Juvenil A, or the under-19 youth team, where he has been absolutely spectacular. He has won the treble with the youth team. They won the Youth Champions League, they won the Youth Copa del Rey, and they won their league group. And all of that in his first season. And as such, he's, of course, catching the attention of other clubs around the world, including Sao Paulo, where he actually played before making a jump to Europe, and where he also coached. He coached their under-20 team, and now Sao Paulo are looking to change their manager of their first team. And it's reported that they want to make a tempting offer to Juliano Belletti to go to Brazil and coach the Sao Paulo first team. I hope that they're not successful, because Juliano Belletti is looking like a very promising coach. And who knows, maybe one day he could be our first team's coach. But of course, we'll have to see what happens. Now, speaking of making moves, changing teams, let's talk about Oscar Mingueza, who's also had an incredible season like Juliano Belletti. He has really come into his role as a fullback for Celta Vigo. And he, too, has been catching the attention, of course, not for the coaching role, but for the player role. And the latest team to take heavy interest in him is Aston Villa, who, in fact, have already reached out to Celta Vigo to negotiate a transfer of Oscar Mingueza. And the problem is, of course, that Celta Vigo don't want to negotiate. Now, Oscar Mingueza has a 20 million euro release clause, which Aston Villa are trying to negotiate down. But Celta are insisting. You either pay the full release clause or you can't have him. And why? Well, that's because Barcelona own 50% of the rights of Oscar Mingueza. So if Aston Villa paid the release clause, 20 million, Celta would only get 10. Versus negotiate down to 10, obviously they would only go to 5. We'll see where this goes, but of course, the good thing about this, however much they end up, Aston Villa end up paying, is that Barcelona will get half of that. And that, of course, will help Barcelona's finances and Barcelona's financial fair play, as the club will look to reinforce the team during this summer transfer market. Now, let's end this video with the news that in the lead up to the semifinal against Inter Milan, Deco had some statements where he pretty much aimed a dig at Xavi Hernandez. And this is what the Barcelona sporting director had to say. "We had won the league, and last season we reached the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We knew that by improving the coach and with some internal changes, we could improve, and that's what happened." Again, we knew that by improving the coach. So Deco aiming a dig at Xavi Hernandez, saying, we knew that by bringing a better coach, we would do better. And, well, I do agree. I think we've seen the huge difference between Xavi and Hansi Flick. I mean, we're talking about the same exact squad, except for Dani Olmo in the place of Gundogan, and yet this squad is performing a million times better than last season's squad. And not only is the team performing better as a whole, we're also seeing that players individually are also performing better. Players who are on their way out, like Eric Garcia, like Íñigo Martínez, even Rafinha. Now they're incredibly important. And even players who were doing well, like Pedri, now he's doing much better. The best version of Pedri during the season. It's all thanks to Hansi Flick. However, I will say this. These comments are starting to become a little bit unnecessary from someone who's in power position at FC Barcelona. Now, let me explain. If Deco was just a former player right now, some random guy, fine, sure. talk all the crap you want about Xavi Hernandez. I do it all the time because I think he was not a good coach. But when you work for Barcelona, when you give these interviews, you're speaking on behalf of the club. And I don't think the club should be trashing Xavi now because, look, it's over. Xavi got his chance. He wasn't good enough. He got fired for it. We have a new coach now. The club needs to stop talking about Xavi Hernandez, and that's what Deco is doing because when he speaks, he's speaking in a capacity as a Barcelona rep because he works for Barcelona. He has a very high position in Barcelona. So again, if Deco was not linked to was not part of Barcelona, sure, say Xavi sucks a million times. But as a club representative, I think this has just become a little bit unnecessary. Anyways, let me know your thoughts about all the news I shared with you today. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.